Welcome back everyone. Today's episode will be a bit shorter than the last few. Today we're going to be looking at phonograph cylinders. These are basically an earlier form of music records like the ones we looked at a few episodes ago. Originally, before sound recordings came in disc form, the absolute first form of recorded sound that you could actually buy in a store were these things. These are phonograph cylinders. There were ways to record sound before these came along, but those were all very experimental technologies that never ended up being mass-produced, whereas these were successful and practical enough to be mass-produced. And so although they weren't the absolute first type of recorded sound, they were the first that you could actually purchase yourself. Unlike disc-shaped records, instead of being made of vinyl, these are actually made of a special type of wax. They're also not nearly as capacious as some of the larger records we were looking at the other day. They could store about 30 minutes on each side, whereas these, you see here, these can only store 4. These are among the oldest items in my entire collection. I don't know exactly how old these particular ones in my collection are, but I've read that phonograph cylinders stopped being produced in 1929, so even if these ones were the last off of the line, they would still be nearly 100 years old. First we'll give you a look at the red canister. And there's Thomas Alva Edison. It was his company that designed and sold these things. His company also sold the first light bulbs. There's quite a lot of debate around Edison as to exactly how much involvement he had over the invention of things like the light bulb and the phonograph cylinder. Some people think that he did it pretty much all on his own. Some people think that he had a whole team of engineers and designers and just took credit for their work. The actual truth of the story is a bit more complicated and sort of lies in the middle of those two extremes. From the research I've done, this type of canister was used for the much earlier phonograph cylinders, which means that these cylinders here aren't actually the original ones that would have come with this canister. The name of the tune is on the top, but it's too damaged for me to properly make out the text. Now the other canister. This one's a bit more worn out than the other one. And you can see here it says Edison Amberol record, 4 minute. Amberol was the special name that Edison gave to the new improved phonograph cylinders. The original ones could only hold about 2 minutes of audio. This one can do 4. I couldn't find exactly what amberol meant. There were a few different answers. Some were saying that it was named after the expensive substance. There was another story saying that Amber was the name of Edison's old girlfriend, but I couldn't find anything definitive. Now we'll give you a look at the cylinders themselves. Start off with this one. Around the top of the edge we can see the serial number. There's 23,176. There's the track name, instrument, the artist, and then there's Edison's signature. Next up we'll look at the blue one. Nice and shiny, this one. At the top we've also got some information. Got the serial number here, 23,331. The track is the Sons of the Brave March, performed by the National Military Band. And then we've also got Edison's signature. The Pat D that you see on this one and the other one means patented, but I wasn't able to find out what the number meant. I couldn't find any information about that. And while I was researching these two cylinders in my collection, I found something quite interesting. I found a database containing a listing of all phonograph records by serial number, and the only listing I could find for this track name said that it was a blue amberol record, which I found quite confusing because this is a black cylinder. But when it had the same serial number, I actually gave it a polish and held it up to the light, and it might not show up on camera very well, but it turns out that this is actually also the same type of cylinder as this one. It's also a blue amberol record, it's just been more faded than the other one. And that actually also means that both of these cylinders are not in their right canister, because the blue cylinders only came in packages like these ones, which I'll show you a photo of. Now, to actually play these things, you of course needed a device called a phonograph. I don't have any phonographs in my collection, so instead I'll show you a few videos and recordings of them in action so you can get an idea of what these things sound like.
As President of the United States, I was present at the First Pan-American Congress in Washington, D.C. I believe that with God's help, our two countries shall continue to live side by side in peace and prosperity. Benjamin Harrison.